Okay, so at this point, I've gone into my video and I counted the heart rate or the beats per minute for 10 seconds for all of these different experimental setups. So I did the one that was normal without anything added to it, my control group. That was about 42 beats per minute. After that first drops of alcohol, which was 4, I got about 30 beats per minute, and then you added 4 more, and then I got about 22 beats per minute, and then I got 13 beats per minute when I had 12 drops of alcohol. So the more alcohol that I gave to the Daphnia, the slower my heart rate got. That is what I am seeing from just my numbers. So what type of graph should I use and why? So let's see. There are 2 types of graphs that I can use. I could use a bar graph or I could use a linear graph. So bar graphs are typically used when you have set groups that you are testing. So you have, let's say, I don't know, you have how does water affect plant growth, soda, alcohol, perfume. So things that are not numbers on the x-axis at least go into bar graphs. So set groups, things that you can't assign a number to, you should use a bar graph. Linear are things that you have numbers for both sides. So in this one, I definitely have numbers on both my x values and my y values, and we'll get into how I know that in just a bit. So I'm going to use a linear graph because I have numbers for x and y. I am using the same alcohol, I am just adding more of it, so this is a linear relationship. I do have numbers of each. Okay, so now I have to actually make my graph. So I attached here what you should have on the graph. On tests, you are going to get points for every single one of these things. If you are missing any of them, you'll get points off. So you definitely don't want to miss any points for not having a title. That is the easiest thing you can do on a graph. So I'm going to title this, How Does Alcohol Affect Daphnia heart rate? You can title this anything you want, that as long as it says what we are measuring, and that is heart rate and alcohol, how alcohol affects the heart rate. So you can say alcohol versus how much alcohol versus how fast the heart rate goes, anything that has to do with those 2 variables that we are testing and measuring. Okay, so I have my title. Now I need to label my axes. So here it says that your x-axis is typically your independent variable. And again, the independent variable is what we can control, what I am changing. And what I can control is how much drops of alcohol I add. So this is going to be my independent variable, how much alcohol I'm adding. I can control this, so this is my x-axis. So I'm going to say right here, drops of alcohol. Typically, you always want to make sure that you have a unit included in both of your axes. But however, because it says drops, I'm going to assume that this is my unit. Maybe we're measuring milliliters, but we are measuring alcohol based on drops. So this is enough. So I have my x-axis, and now I need my y-axis. My y-axis is what I am measuring or what I am observing based on what I can control. So what I was observing / counting is the heart rate of my little fly, of my Daphnia. I did not control this. I basically just observe it from the video. I had nothing to do with this. All I can control is the alcohol. So this is what I'm observing. So Daphnia heart rate would be my y-axis. Daphnia heart rate. Boom. Okay. And again, you want to make sure you have your units. Here they tell you that units for heart rate are BPM. Maybe you don't know what that means. It stands for beats per minute. So I'm going to make sure that I'm going to put my unit in my graph. BPM. Okay, so now I have a title and I have my axes labeled. So now I have to plot my points To do that, I have to make sure that I scale my graph. What this means is figuring out a way to divide this graph so that I can plot my points and I am using most of the graph. You have to use at least more than half of the graph every single time. You have to use all of it. Don't cram all your data in these little boxes. Use all of it. So drops of alcohol, I can see that my biggest number is 12 and my smallest is actually 0 because my control group did not receive any alcohol. So 0 to 12. Let's say that I'm going to make every 4 spaces 1 drop. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I only have space to do 7 drops if each 4 spaces was 1. So I need to make that smaller. So let's try 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Here I am using more than half of my graph, and I got to the biggest number that I have, which is 12. So I'm going to space every 2 to be 1 drop of alcohol. So for example, here I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Now I have to do the same, but with my y-axis. The heart rate was highest, 42, smallest, about 13. So I need to go from about 10 to 40 using most of my graph space. So let's see, every 4 spaces is 10 points. Let's see, 10, 20, 30, 40. That could work if every 4 spaces was 10 points or 10 beats per minute. That could work because I'm using more than half. Let me see if I can use this space that I have up here because I want to make my data as big as possible. So every 5 spaces, 10, 20, 30, 40. Ooh, that's good too. I could even make it every 6 spaces probably. Let's see. 1, 2, 10. Ooh, I messed up right here, didn't I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 30. Oop, 6 spaces is too big. So let me put that back down to 5. I think I messed up here in a bit. Let's do 5 as a final one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a point, and that means 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a point, and that means 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Point, that is 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Point, and that is 40. Okay, so now I have a scale on X and Y, and now I can just plot my points. So for my control group, when I had 0 drops, I had about 42 beats per minute. So at 0 drops of alcohol, I had about 42 beats per minute, which is about right there. At about 4 drops of alcohol, I had 30. So 4 drops of alcohol, I had, boop, 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 connecting. Did I do it right? Here, 30. At 8 drops, I had 22. So 8 drops, I had about 22 right there. And lastly, 12 drops, I had about 13. So at 12 drops, I had about 13. Boom. And because this is a linear graph, I can go ahead and connect my points, and you can draw a little arrow like this going down. And that is my scale and my plotted points. I don't need a key because I only have one set of data. I would use a key if I needed a bar graph, and then I could be like, oh, red is water, blue is soda, pink is perfume. All right, so those are all the steps of how to draw an appropriate graph.